Hi everyone, it's Meredith from Turquoise Boutique Studio, and I'm here today to walk you through a quick intro to our DIY kit for embroidery and also how to start any embroidery using this kit, or even if you're just working with supplies you have at home. Alright, let's dive in. Here is the kit that arrives to your house, and technically the only thing that you need from home is a pair of scissors. Here I have these cute embroidery scissors, but really anything that's sharp will do. I'm just going to quickly show you what's included here. This one comes with a lot of printed guides, just because I find when you're working on embroidery, it's really handy to be able to access like a picture of something that you're trying to do as a reminder. This first guide walks you through just starting any embroidery project, which is what we'll go over today. In addition to that, there's a guide to the stitches, and then your patterns for your design. So there's both a blank one here that you can add your own phrase in, as well as two that have already pre-filled out sayings at the center here. We can do hard things, and nevertheless she persisted. In case you don't have great handwriting like me, I've also included this alphabet that you can use to then fill out a name or a phrase or anything on your middle of the blank design here. The last thing is a pattern for your embroidery design that just tells you which colors you want to use where. This is always just a suggestion, and I'm adding in for a second color palette here that I'll print off before I send them out. And underneath all that printed goodness, then we have the basic supplies included here. These 10 embroidery floss colors are included in the Natural Neutrals color palette, which I included these as the kind of writing in the center, and these four would be the floral colors, and then these would be the greenery. Just to really quickly show you the other color palette, this is the bright florals, so it has more bright colors for the flowers, and then more traditional, like different types of greens and blues for the greenery, and then I give you the choice for purple or ecru writing in the center. Under all this embroidery floss are some of the other supplies. So you'll have either a 6-inch or a 7-inch bamboo hoop. Then I also have this cute water erasable pen that's used to transfer the pattern from the printout onto your fabric, which I'll show you the fabric now. This is one of the colors that's offered in the Kona fabric, which is high quality, tightly woven cotton, so that your stitches will stay secure and hopefully won't reveal too many holes. So that's a really key part of having a nice embroidery. Finally, there's a packet of all the different pins, needles, and needle threaders. I've included a wide variety of these just so you can try some different materials out. Sometimes these needle threaders can be quite flimsy, so I also included a little bit more of a sturdy needle threader here as well. I've included at least a couple different types of needles in your kit so you can try them out. And lastly, there are some pins that can be used to attach your printout of your embroidery pattern to your fabric while you're using the marker to trace it. Really quickly wanted to show you different types of needles that I've found that I enjoy working with. Sometimes I feel like the specific embroidery needles usually don't work that great for me, but I've still tried them a few times. Sometimes the ones on the end here are so small it's really hard to thread them up, especially if you're using all 6 strands of the embroidery floss. So I've found that I really like these Golden Eye Chenille needles, number 22, and even working with needles that are technically for cross stitch have been good. In the kit, as you saw, there are pre-printed designs that already have the saying or words in the middle of the design on the outer border. But But I wanted to show you the process in case you'd like to make your own words here. You can put a name or a short phrase. So I'm just going to show you the process of adding that in. If you have great handwriting, you don't have to worry about this as much. You can just use your pencil to write in whatever you want here. But in case you want the help, there's the alphabet that's ready for you to trace. It can be helpful now if you also want to use a ruler just to make straight lines so you can center your design. And starting out with a pencil always is a good idea as well. If you don't feel like you need to do this ahead of time, you can also be a risk taker and just draw the writing directly on your fabric later, which I'll show you. But just in case you're a planner like me, you can do this. So I kind of have a dream of making this be gentle with yourself, but I think be gentle will be fine on the top, but with yourself will be pretty tight. So I'm just going to see how much space there is to do two different lines. So it's about 5 centimeters. After some trial and error, I figured out about 2 centimeters and 4 centimeters work for the 2 different lines. Before drawing out the letters, I just used the different letters as guides just to kind of space them out and make sure my first line will all fit together. I tried this whole part one time before and it really didn't work out, but I found that planning the spacing of the letter at least gave me a better shot of it working the second time. Since I already feel comfortable with my spacing from the first line, I just go ahead and start the second line right away. Okay, I finally came up with my finished design here. Be gentle, have grace. I'm happy with how it looks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out closer to the actual design. And this is just so it's going to be able to fit inside of my hoop. So you can just double check once you cut it to make sure that it'll fit in the center there. So that's perfect. You may also want to go over your design with like a black marker, just because you're going to have to be able to see it through the fabric. So if your pencil marking is not strong enough to see through the fabric like mine is, I'm just going to really quickly go over this with marker. Okay, let's set up our hoop and enclose our fabric inside of it. So in case you've never worked with hoops before, first thing you want to do is loosen it up. So you can take the top screw here and unscrew it, just so there's at least some movement and this inner circle is able to come out, but it's still a little bit tight so it can grab the fabric. I'm going to lay down the middle circle here. Take your piece of fabric, try to align it in the center as much as possible. If these creases bother you, by all means you can iron your piece of fabric before you're going to do this. And then once you're happy with the centering, and take the outer ring and press it down along the sides, and then tighten the top screw back up. Once it's a little bit tightened, you can also pull the fabric just to make sure it's really snug and secure. It'll help with allowing the needle to go through more smoothly and in the exact point. And then you can tighten one more time, and again pull any fabric that you feel needs to be tightened until you're happy with the snugness. once it's really secure and you're happy with the location, now we're going to transfer the design onto the fabric by placing the design inside here. You can already maybe see the design showing through, but I'll also show you a few tips on how to do that as well. So you just want to check and see if your design is centered inside your hoop, and then this is where you'll use your pins to secure it in place. I like to try to avoid the writing areas, so just kind of doing it in between. So you'll puncture it through that way, and then put it inside into here. Gently guide it through there. So I like to do in the center somewhere, and then maybe there and there. Make sure the paper lays as flat as possible. This is so it won't move while you're doing the design. So in case you have to put it down or do anything else, you'll know that your design is still in the same place. I'm going to try to go in around the design over here. So now my design is secure. Since it's daylight, it's showing up pretty well here. So I'm just going to take my extra phone and turn the flashlight on in case you need some extra light. And also put this underneath where you're working, and it can act as like a backlight that'll make it easier for you to see as you go along. Another option is that you can take this to a window and hold it up while you're transferring as well. So since I'm going to try to just do this on camera, I'm going to use my option for the backlight. This is a water erasable marker, so that once you finish with your design, if there's any blue marker still showing, you can just use a little bit of water to make sure that this marker can disappear, which is really great. This is one of the ways that you can do transfers. There are a few other ones, but I find this one works the best. So you're just going to very slowly go around your whole pattern and trace the different elements of the design. If you are super perfectionist, you can really take your time and get things exact, but really at the end of the day, this is just a gentle guide for you. So it doesn't have to be super perfect, although it's good if it can be as close as possible. Alright, so I've finished doing the design, transferring and tracing it. I'm going to remove my pins and the design from the back. There was one point where the pin crossed over, so I'm just going to really quickly color that in. And it's all ready to start doing embroidery.